A warm welcome to all of you. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is the biomolecules. This chapter included in NCERT and most of the state syllabuses. Okay, this also included in the NEET examination syllabus. So this is one of the very important chapter in the NEET examination. Okay, so what is actually biomolecules? Biomolecules are nothing but chemical compound that is present in the living organism. Okay, and this biomolecule include both organic and inorganic elements. Okay, a study shows that whatever the element present in the living organism, that also present in the earth crust, that is in the soil. Okay, like carbon, hydrogen and many more other elements. But the study shows that in the living organism, carbon and hydrogen is more than that present in the earth crust. That means earth crust containing relatively less carbon and hydrogen comparing to the living organism. Now we can make a comparative study of the different elements that are present in the earth crust and human body. Okay, see here, hydrogen in the case of the earth crust 0.14, and in the human body it is a 0.5. Definitely it is more in the human body. Okay, and if you take a carbon, it is a 0.03 in the case of the earth crust and 18.5 in the case of the human. Definitely it is higher in the human body, it is higher than earth crust. Oxygen 46.6, 65.0 in the human body, this also more. Nitrogen is very little in earth crust and in the human body it is 3.3. Like that is sulfur 0.03 in earth crust and in the human body it is 0.3. Sulfur, calcium is 2.8 in the earth crust and in human body it is 0.2. Sodium is 3.6 in the earth crust and human body 1.5. Magnesium is 2.1 in earth crust and in the human body it is only 0.1. Silicon is 27.7 in the earth crust, but it is a very little trace element in the human body. So least in human body is a silicon. It is actually sand particles and the very little least in the case of the earth crust is the nitrogen. So that is a comparative account of the different elements present in the earth crust and human body. So carbon, hydrogen is more in the human body comparing to the earth crust. Now we can see how we can analyze organic compounds in tissue. For that purpose, take a small piece of the living tissue. It may be a plant tissue or it may be an animal tissue like a liver piece. Okay, and this liver taken or the piece of the plant taken in a mortar and pestle. Using the pestle, it must be grind very thoroughly. So before grinding, you must add some trichloro acetic acid. This trichloro acetic acid helping to separate the cells from each other. Okay, and then the cell also will break during this grinding process. And finally, you will get a thick slurry. Okay, and this slurry must be strained. It must be filtered, and filtration, for the purpose of filtration, we commonly using the cotton piece or take a cheesecloth and filter with the help of the conical flask and the funnel. Okay, then after the filtration you will get a fraction on the cotton or on the cheesecloth, that is known as a retentate. Okay, there is a retaining there, that is known as a retentate. Its molecular weight is high, so it cannot filter through this cotton or the cheesecloth. And the filtrate, that is the water that is coming under the filtration in the test tube or the conical flask, that is known as a filtrate. Okay, and the retentate, why it is remaining there? Because it is not dissolved in acid, that is a trichloroacetic acid. So that is known as the acid insoluble fraction. And the fraction that is present in the filtrate, that is actually soluble in acid, so it is known as an acid soluble fraction, and that containing thousands of the organic compounds that present in the cytoplasm. So this is actually cytoplasmic fraction, and this is not dissolving in the acid, so it is known as acid insoluble fraction. And then finally we can analyze what are the composition of this filtrate, and that is requiring very elaborate, very sophisticated method to find out what are the different compounds, chemicals available in this filtrate, that you will study in the higher class. That is the method of the separation. the chemicals, how the chemical can separate from each other by different methods. Okay, so in this way we can analyze the organic compound that is present in the tissue. So now let us see the actual video of the grinding process. So this is the piece of the liver, and this is known as a mortar, and this is the pestle. So using the pestle, the liver piece or the any tissue you taken for the experiment, it must be grind very properly. Now after the grinding, you will get a thick slurry, and that slurry must be filtrated. Okay, let us see how filtration taken place. This is the filtration of the slurry that we obtained from the grinding process. So this is the slurry that pouring into the test tube through the cheesecloth or the cotton, and then you will get two fraction. That is this is the fraction that come down, that is known as the filtrate, and the fraction that remaining in the cotton or in the cheesecloth, that is known as a retentate. And both retentate and the filtrate that are containing different components, the components can be then identified by using different methods of the separation mechanism. So now let us analyze how the inorganic elements in a living tissue can be identified or analyzed. Okay, so for that purpose, you take a small piece of the living tissue. It may be plant tissue or animal tissue like liver. Then take the weight of that tissue, that is known as a wet weight. Then after that, dry it thoroughly. Then take again weight, that is known as a dry weight. Okay, then after taken the dry weight, the tissue must be burned completely. So after the burning, you will get the ash, and this ash containing all the inorganic materials, and that inorganic elements or the compound that we can analyze by using the different sophisticated method, by using very elaborate laboratory technique. Okay, so this as containing different type of the inorganic elements that actually present in the living tissue. Okay, so in this way we can analyze the inorganic element present in the living tissue. So now let us see the different inorganic constituents of the living organism. So take here sodium Na plus, potassium K plus, calcium Ca plus, magnesium Mg2 plus, water H2O, compound sodium chloride, calcium carbonate, PO4, SO4 plus, etc. So that is the different inorganic constituent of the living things. Okay.